All right. In the interest of time, we're going to start with questions for the players, for Aaron and for Chris. If you have a question, please raise your hand, and we will get the microphone to you. In front, to Nick.
Chris has a career high for you, 25 points. Everything just seemed like it was falling into the second half, beginning of the first overtime. What were you seeing out there? What went right?
Just being aggressive. My team, they want me to be aggressive. Coaches want me to be aggressive. So that's what I had to do from the jump. We didn't want our season to end. We just had to keep fighting. So that's pretty much what it was. I didn't want my season to end. So
Back to the front row and to Jaden.
Chris, and Aaron for you as well, for both of you. Going into this season, Aaron coming back from the injury and Chris getting a chance to prove yourself more at after coming from Fairfield. What has this year been like, and to see it pay off with a night like this for both of you? What can you say about your development this season?
You go first. I say it's been everything, honestly. It's probably been my favorite year of college basketball. I know, like, being in it for this long could be, like, a little bit of a drag, but, I mean, it's probably been the most fun year with coaches and teammates, and getting a win like this is everything I could have asked for and everything that we could ask for, so it was huge.
I'm going to go to Jeff and then Aaron.
Chris, obviously you guys know the scouting report with Amari in there. When he goes down, how much different does it actually feel out there and look out there to you as a big man inside?
I mean, he's the defensive player of the year. You can't knock that from him. So being able, the shot blocking wasn't there once he was out. Hope he feels better, but it was just a different presence. Like, he was a different presence, and when him out, it was different. So we took advantage of it.
Aaron, can you just walk us through that last play, that bank shot, and were you just determined that you were going to take that shot?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think Coach was probably the happiest. He's been preaching to me all year about playing with off 2 feet. And, I mean, my favorite player, Jalen Brunson, he do it a lot too. So, yeah, I think just playing off 2 feet helped me get the foul and then one and playing that way. So I know Coach was happy.
You watched Jalen?
A lot. Yeah, a lot.
Paul, to you, and then behind you to John.
This is to both of you guys. 3 minutes and 18 seconds is how long you held the lead in this game. They had the lead for 40 minutes and 18 seconds. Have you ever been in a game like this before?
Usually for us, it's vice versa. We have the lead, and then for the most of the time, and then it switches around. They end up having a lead for the short amount of time, but that's what gets them to win the game. So it feels good to be on the other side of that. So.
Behind you to John.
John Titel from Hoops HD for Aaron. You played over 48 minutes. Is that the most you've ever played? And are you a little worried that you might not have a full tank for tomorrow?
Nah, I mean, it's March. It's time to rev it up and keep it going. I mean, it's probably the most I ever played, but, I mean, we got good trainers and recovery, and so I'll be fine.
One more for the players. John.
For both players, I know you guys don't want to say who you want to play or not, but if it does end up being Hofstra, how much would you relish an all Long Island battle for the semifinals?
We'll be excited to play whoever. I mean, if it is Hofstra, then that's who it is, and we're ready to go out there and play. I mean, we didn't come here just to win 2 games, so whatever it is, we're going in there with the mindset that we're trying to win.
All right, going to wrap up with the players here and then get Gino. Pete, okay, Pete, last one.
Well, Aaron, analytics shoot the 3 or the layup. You look like the king of the mid-range game. How'd you get so good shooting at mid-range, those 15, 14, 16-footers?
Just working out. Coach Avery with a lot, our assistant coach, and growing up, me and my dad's huge on mid-range jump shots, and like I said, I like to watch Brunson, and he plays a lot in the mid-range, and I think, yeah, that's probably it.
Thank you. Congratulations.
All right, you guys are good to go.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, we're just going to jump right into questions here for Coach Ford. Please use the hand raise feature if you're on Zoom. Raise your hand, and we'll get you the microphone. Jaden, first question. Yeah.
Gino, when you got Aaron and Chris out of the portal this season and the year before, you obviously envision nights like this from the both of them, to have them both contribute as much as they did, as well as they did, with the stakes, what they were tonight. How satisfied are you to see them get the testimonial to pay it off?
Well, those two guys are two of the greatest kids you'd ever be around. I don't even know I can call them kids. I mean, they're 23. I mean, they're like coaches. You just heard them answering questions. They're well-spoken. They're smart. They go to school. We have a 3.22 team GPA. They're in another team in the league's got that. These guys go to class. They do what they're supposed to do. They're fun to be around. They try their butt off. And some nights the other team scores more points, but we have had zero attitude issues, zero complaints of minutes or touches. If you look at our box scores, that's the most shots Chris Mido's gotten in a game. And I know he had it cooking, but we guys just, okay, it's Chris's night, and they just started feeding him. I mean, he's willing to be a passer, and it's been a fun group to coach. But we've also been rated by the portal, and I am at our level. You've got to do a great job evaluating, because what happens is we lose and we have lost. Mogi to Pitt, we lose Tyke Green to Kansas State, we lose Frankie Policelli to College of Charleston, and so when we lose a guy, it's always a guy who has huge stats, and we are taking guys that we're evaluating. Now, Aaron Clark had big stats. Chris Mido did not necessarily have big stats, but that was, I think, by the coaches, Dan Ricard, a great evaluation. And what we didn't know about Chris was what a great kid he was, and that's made him get better as a player and more confidence offensively, I think.
Trevor.
Coach, talking about Chris there, decided to sub in Chris with 1:33 left, and he immediately converted on a bucket and a dunk on back-to-back plays. Attacking Williams is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Talk about that moment, what decision was to attack that player.
Well, the dunk was unbelievable. What we couldn't score inside against him. We threw it inside, and we had a hard time. So what we were trying to do was get our and Fitz made some jumpers in there too at that spot. So we were just trying to get Williams away from the basket because he was clogging everything up, and we were having a really difficult time scoring in the paint. And then when we got him away, Fitz made an enormous three. You're talking about a guy who that's probably his 8th three of the year off the top of my head, close to that number. In a game like this, to stick a corner three, tough shot. And Mido's clearly a driver from out there, but he was really good. And they were staying with shooters, so Chris was able to get some angles. And we tried to play Jared Fry a little more because they just stayed attached. He didn't get a ton of shots. He converted the one he got, but they had to guard him. And I think that was probably helpful for Chris too.
Coach, I was at the DAC when you played him. You played him tough there, got down, came back, didn't get all the way to the end. But I'm just wondering, from that experience, was that helpful, and how, if so, coming into this game?
I think it's helpful for the players because we've got a belief that we're good enough to beat everybody. And if you go through, we actually in the regular season played the top teams better than anybody in the league, even though we only pulled off a win against Wilmington. We had Charleston down 15. They came storming all the way back and beat us by, I think it was 5 or 6. We lost at Towson in overtime. We lost at Delaware. We had the lead the whole game, and it was a great point about the lead. But we've done this ourselves, and Chris was right. It's just been reversed, not necessarily only 3 minutes, but I mean, we've played so many games. We lead 28 minutes. The other teams led 9, and we just haven't finished. Hofstra, I mean, Tyler Thomas hit an unbelievable shot that I still want to puke when I think about it. But those kind of games are stomach punch losses, and our kids have just been resilient, man. They've just hung in there and kept battling. So they believe that we're good enough to do it.
How much fun are you having coaching this team?
Oh, most I've ever had. Most I've ever had in 25 years because of how they are. Tyler, Dean, I said it yesterday. Dean's playing with meniscus tear. The guy can't even walk bending his knee correctly. He throws that brace on and he just figures it out, and he makes zero excuses. Aaron Clark, winner. As a human being. Mido, Fitz, all those guys, Sabri, they're just fun to be around. It's the most fun I've had, and it had nothing to do with winning tonight. I'm so thankful we did. I've said all year that this has been such a blessing to coach these guys, because in today's world where the roster change is over, it in the old days where you get a guy, you get him better. We got lucky on that with Tyler. But you don't get to hang on to these guys. You just end up losing a lot of them. And so to go through it with a new team, for the most part, you grab the stat sheets, a lot of new guys out there putting up points, and I like them a lot more when we win, but I like them a lot when we don't too.
All right, we got to wrap up here, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.